just be quiet or mute yourself, that's fine. Good, so once we're in Shavasana, just let the feet turn out, the palms turn up, and begin to take some nice deep breaths. Feel the expansion into the lower ribs as you inhale, and then slowly blow it out through the mouth. Try to go to the very end of your exhale. Do 2 more like that, taking your time. Good, now stretch your arms out into a 90-degree angle. Step your feet on the mat wide apart and begin to slowly drop your knees side to side. The wider you step your feet, the more you're getting into the inner hip capsule. So it's important as your knees go left, for example, you really collapse that right knee down. Still do those deep breaths. Good. When your knees fall to the right, you feel free to stop there and cross your right ankle on top of the left outer thigh. Or just keep going like me. Those of you who paused, go to the left now. Good. Let's come back to center. Cross your right ankle on top of the left thigh. Take a moment to let that right knee float away from you via your hip muscles, and then pull your left knee into your chest. Feel free to rock side to side. Good. Stop the rocking and now extend your left leg up to the ceiling. You can use your belt or just your hands and hold on to that left leg. The right ankle is still crossed over. Two more. Now we'll do nose breathing. Good. Carefully release back down, feet on the ground, and let's switch. Cross left ankle over right thigh. Press that left knee away, and then pull your right knee in. Rocking again, or just breathe into your left hip. Good, now extend the right leg up. Use your belt or just your hands and breathe here. Good. And let's release down, drop the soles of your feet together, knees apart. Either take your belt and stretch your arms overhead. If you don't have a belt, you can just clasp your hands, but if you can, go back and forth several times. Good. Release your arms down, step your feet onto the mat, this time hip width apart. Lift your hips just a tiny ½ inch off the ground. Rotate your pubis toward the navel, and now lift up into your bridge pose. So you're probably lying flat at this point. Press your hamstrings up. Think your upper hamstrings are pressing up. Now step your left foot a little bit to the middle of the mat. Extend your right leg up. One deep breath. Good. Right foot down, left leg up. One deep breath. Excellent. Lower down. Good. And now just bend both knees in, rock side to side on your sacrum a moment. And roll to one side, and let's sit up here. Let's come into a cross-legged pose, right ankle crossed in front of the left. The closer, so if your knees are splayed out, it's less of a stretch on your hips than when your knees are closer into your midline here. Good. Roll the shoulder heads back. Feel like you're smiling from armpit to armpit. Sit tall, but with little effort, so don't make your spine stiff. And then sink your right head to right shoulder, right ear to right shoulder. Now walk your left fingers away from you along the floor. Notice your spine is not moving. So don't bend your spine to the right, it's just your neck, but not your lower spine. Back to center. Left ear, left shoulder. Walk your fingertips over to the right. Sitting evenly on both sitting bones. Good. Come back to center. Let's sweep the arms up. Inhale. And twist to your right. Left hand on right knee, right hand either behind you or even wrap your right arm around your low back to get a bigger shoulder stretch. Watch your shoulder if you have issues there. Don't go backward too much. Now turn your head as far to the left in the opposite direction as you can. Feel your chest still turning right. Good. Turn back to center. Extend your right leg out to the right with a little bend in your knee. Clasp your hands overhead. Inhale. Curl in. Make a really puffy round upper back and bring your forehead down to the knee. Poke your hands over the foot or on the ankle. Inhale, come up. Release your hands down. Good. Bring your right leg behind you. Let's go right into wild thing. Left hand as a kickstand and lift up. Feel that stretch in the right thigh. Don't lift your right knee. Press the right knee to the floor as you push your hips forward. For one more breath. Good. Release down. Cross that right ankle once again in front of the left. And let's fold forward. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, bow down. Good. Inhale, come back up. Release your hands down and behind you. Make sure your hands are at least shoulder width apart. Fingers turn forward or sideways. Step your feet on the mat, and if you feel up for it, lift your hips up. Look at the ceiling, strengthening the neck. Don't let it hang all the way back. Make it basically in the same line as the rest of your spine. And lower the hips down. Good. And let's come into the opposite side. Cross your left ankle or shin in front of the right. And just do a few rotations here. Lean as far forward and sideways as you can. And reverse. Good. Eventually come back to the center. Let's take the arms up to the sky. Inhale and twist to your left. Maybe wrap your left arm around your low back here. And turn the head all the way right. Good. Unwind, extend your left leg out, bend your knee a little, and arms come up into a clasp. Inhale, tuck your chin, round your upper back so the chest pulls in, and curl down for about 5 breaths. After about 5, inhale, come up. Release your hands down and your left foot behind you, wild thing. Inhale, lift your hips. How much can you push your hips forward and up using your glutes, not your low back? Release down. Good. And from here, we're actually going to go right onto all fours. Good. So spread your fingers, hips over knees, shoulders over wrist, and begin to arch and round. Play with your shoulder blades here too. So when you arch, your shoulder blades kind of come toward each other. And when you round, spread them wide apart and spread that space between the blades open. Do 2 more. I attribute it to this pose and the next one we're doing that I have 0 back pain in my entire pregnancy. So that just goes to tell you, although it seems like a very simple pose, it is very strengthening for our core and it opens our back. And it's safe because we're not standing, we're not bearing weight on it. So from here, make sure you get rid of your sway back, draw it in a little, shoulders broad, stretch your right leg back, left arm forward. And we're going to add on a little here. Keep the leg up, but put your hand back on the floor. Now bend your right knee, flex the foot like you want to push your way to the ceiling, and 10 times we'll do a donkey kick. Just press the heel to the ceiling. 2, use your glute. 3, 4, 5. Don't collapse into your shoulders. 7, 8, 9, 10. Now straighten the leg out again. And 10 times bring your heel, I'm doing it if you're not sure, bring your heel to the glute. So bend and straighten your knee basically. 2, that's for your hamstrings. Keep the core tight. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, flex that foot, 9, and 10. And we're going to take it right into a forward stance. Step your right foot between your hands. Tuck your back toes and come into a low lunge. You can lift your back knee like I have into a crescent lunge, but your fingers still on the floor. Now you can do this better. You can extend out of your low back, extend out of your chest. Press this left heel back. Notice your hips are not high like a down dog. Sink your butt down so it's no higher than your front knee. Option stay, option 2, reach your arms to the ceiling for full crescent lunge. Breathe. Think being light in that left front hip. So don't press down through that left front hip. Let the right glute work. One more breath. And we'll take it back either to child's pose or down dog. Tread it out a little. If you're tired of being on your hands and wrists, you can do down dog on the forearms. Shift forward to a plank. Same thing here. Let your hips sink to the same level as your shoulders. Don't let them be poking up high. Shoulder blades broad. And then you guys can lower to the knees and lower down to the chest, elbows bending backward. So you lie flat on your back. Sorry, on your belly, of course. Good, arrange your shoulders backward. Inhale, peel your head and chest off the ground for cobra. Make sure your low back stays nice and broad, so we're not compressing into the low back. Use glutes and hamstrings for this lift. Good, come back down, forehead on the ground. Slide your hands slightly back and maybe a bit wider, feet slightly apart for up dog. Inhale, again, not for unhappy low backs. Do another cobra or skip this whole thing. Otherwise, press up to up dog, brace the core. Don't let a sway back happen, so keep the low belly braced here below the navel. And then we'll all go to a quick child's pose. You can splay your knees open or any child's pose you like. 2 deep breaths. On an inhale, come up. If you can sit like this on your heels, come up, bring your hands behind you, and just stretch your thighs open, your quads. Whatever you do here, I want you to lift your butt and kind of tuck your butt cheeks under so your tailbone goes lower toward the knees. We take that arch out of the low back for a moment. Those of you who want to lift the hips, you can just do it from your glutes. And release down back to all fours. Again, don't collapse the shoulder blades together. Keep them broad. Rib cage pulled in, belly in, left leg back, right arm forward. Right hand back down. Bend your left knee, flex your foot, 10 donkey kicks. 1, straight up to the sky. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Straighten the leg so it's straight out. Flexing the foot 10 times. Bend your heel back toward the glute. 1, keep your knee high. 2, don't let the knee come down. 3, 4, 5, 6, no sway backs here. Keep that belly braced. 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good. Whew, take that same left foot, step it forward, and set up a lunge position. Option, stay here, just lengthen out. Option 2, lift up into a crescent lunge, arms to the ceiling. Breathing into the lower rib cage again. This time, hands to the floor and step forward into a standing forward bend as I adjust the camera. So fold forward, soft knees. Good, and now those of you, make sure when you fold forward, bend your knees more, hands to the thighs, lift your chest into a flat spine, long spine, and then stand up so you have the right muscles engaged. Good, so I set up my 2 blocks here in front of the mat if you want to do the same. If you have to, if you have 1, just put 1. Good. So we'll do a couple things here. So first, stand in mountain pose. Feet together or slightly apart. Outward energy through the spine and through the crown. Big toes touch. And I take it into a tree pose. Left foot comes to tree. Gaze at the floor a few feet ahead of you, or make it harder on yourself and lift your gaze toward the ceiling. Good. Now step that left foot, whenever you're ready, behind you into a warrior one. Ground that outer foot. Keep pressing the left thigh on back and bend into your right knee. Arms up. Square the hips as much as you can. Make sure you don't square at the waist level. It's literally down here at the hip joints where you pivot. Put your hands on your hip joints if you want and pivot. Now wrap your left arm around underneath your right, eagle arms. Front ribs sink down, elbows lift, and breathe. Keep pressing your hands away from the forehead, and now scan your body. Where might you be tight? Neck, face, hips, feet, whatever it is, just melt into the breathing and the pose. Good. Now take your hands at the heart. See if you can step directly into a chair pose. I don't care if your feet are together or slightly apart, but just sit down. No tucking under, just sit back down. Brace your belly from the front and raise your arms up. 2 more breaths. Light in the toes. And mountain pose. Big toes touch, tailbone. Don't scoot it under or squeeze it under, but let it be heavy. Having that natural low back curve, and take a breath. Good. Step your right foot up into tree pose. Once you found a slightly more settled version of this, only then take it back to warrior one. Good, and this time wrap your right arm under the left. Front ribs down, elbows lift, hands away from the forehead, and take at least 5 breaths. Make your thighs feel strong. So hug the muscles into the bones. Feel your feet gripping the earth, and your ankles will strengthen here. One more. Good. Unwind, hands at heart, step to chair pose. I have my feet together here, big toes touch, you don't have to. And if you want prayer twist, do the right. So hook your left elbow to the right thigh. Remember, you have to sit fairly low to do that prayer twist. I'm gonna stay here. Prayer twist, people switch to the other side. And eventually release. Sway your arms side to side. Relax. Good. So I wanted to come into a supported airplane. So I'm going to make my blocks very high here. Okay, you can do the same or whichever tool you might have here. Okay. And step your feet hip width apart, slightly behind the blocks. Hands to the hips. And we'll take it into a lunge. So step your left foot back, into a crescent lunge here. Square the hips with the help of the sensing of your hands. So left hip comes forward so the right hip can spin back, just so you feel like they're square. You don't have to exaggerate it. Whew, good. So now engage your abs. So lean down, come down to the blocks with your hands. I'm walking my blocks forward and pick up your left leg. So you should be in this airplane position now. Left leg is straight with the heel flexed, the quad engaged. See if you can have a very, very slight softness behind your right knee, so we don't have to jam that knee joint straight. And if you have it in you, you're gonna lift your chest and sweep your arms out to the sides to full airplane. Otherwise, this is so good to strengthen your hip. 2 more breaths. Hands back to the blocks. Step left foot next to right. Feet can be separated and just fold in for a moment. Good, and press up to standing. Feet hip width again. Hands at the hips. And step your right foot back to warrior and to crescent lunge. Back heel is lifted. And begin to work on squaring your hips. Left hip slightly forward, right hip pivots ever so slightly back and toward the center of your mat. Good, and once you're ready, lean forward. Find the blocks and lift your right leg. Make sure your chest lifts out, so try to get as much length from your right heel to your breastbone. Make sure you don't jam that left knee all the way straight. Brace that core. Neck is long, and if you want, lift your arm for a couple breaths. Step right foot next to left. Those of you who can, step your feet a little wider and come down into a yogi squat. I'm going to sit on a block here. It's really actually easy to just make your block the highest position and then do a supported squat here. Whew. Otherwise, do your full squat, maybe your hands at the heart, and breathe. Good. Stand up. You can use, actually let's use the block for our triangle today. So step your feet somewhat wide, like a leg's length apart. Turn your right foot open, left heel slightly back. I'm holding the block in my right hand. Take your arms out. Again, feel that softness behind your knees a little, and then lean forward and put the block to the right big toe, right hand on it. Turn your gaze up to the left hand if you like. So I'm going to stay in triangle, but if you want, go into your half moon pose. It's just a side version of what we just did in our airplane. It's like an open airplane. So right hand stays on the block. You know how to go. Lean forward, put the block in front of your toes. And there you go, flying in your half moon Ardha Chandrasana. Whenever you are done, come out back to standing in a wide position here. Turn your right foot in, left toes out. Make sure you turn that right heel backward a little. We accommodate the right hip and let it turn in naturally so we can square the pelvis, right? Good. No hyperextended jammed knees here. You can easily, if you have that tendency, just don't bring all your weight into your heel. Bring some weight into the ball of your foot. And there we go, triangle pose. Gently turn your gaze up. And if that bothers your neck by any means, look down to the block. Good. Maybe those of you who go to half moon, do that now. And when you're done, you leave the block where it is and come up to standing. Good. Roll the shoulders. Recover with your breathing. Reverse the shoulder rolls. Good, and we're going to a lizard. So from this position, hands to the back of your pelvis, elbows back. Feel again that broad smile between your armpits. Stretch back a little, even if that just means looking to this, excuse me, to the ceiling. And then fold forward. Now, if you don't want to do full lizard, you could just lunge side to side. I'll do that a few times too. And eventually pivot your feet to the right and come to lizard here. And then pivot all the way to the left. Walk your hands on the floor toward the left foot and come to lizard on your left. Good job. And from here, carefully moving to a down dog, or just like me, take a break sitting back to the heels. You can even tuck your toes. Otherwise, you're in down dog. Tread it out for a moment. Now in down dog, sweep your right leg up. Those of you who know how to flip the dog, you sweep your right leg up and step it over your left side, over to your left side. So you're almost like in a side plank kind of thing. You're in wild thing, otherwise you're just in down dog with your right leg up. And whenever you're done with your wild thing, let's come to pigeon. Right knee forward, flex your foot, sit back to a block. About 2-3 more breaths here. Good. And then lift the torso, grab your left ankle, maybe come down to the right forearm again. Release, and let's come into a half split. So crawl back onto your left knee, right foot forward, flex that right foot, and fold in. If you have space, and by any means use your block, to put the block or just the hands to the right side of the mat, so your torso has to turn right and it will give you a better IT band stretch. Even rotate the whole right foot and leg over to the right. Whew, and you might really feel that. One more breath, just surrender to this feeling. Good, release, either rest in puppy pose like me, or go to down dog. Do a vinyasa. Now if Joan's still here, do your vinyasa. So in down dog, those of you who did wild thing, sweep your left knee, left leg up, flip the dog. Wild thing and flip the dog is the same thing. We can just do it in different planes, like we do it on the knees sometimes. Otherwise, you're in down dog with strong hands, wrists, arms, shoulders. And we'll eventually bring it forward to our pigeon. Nice deep breaths. Again, always find that moment in your pose where you let go into, you're aware of the stretch, but you're also aware of all other parts of the body. That's how we cultivate that body awareness. Eventually grab that right ankle, maybe come to the left forearm. Good. Let's release and finish strong here with your half split. Of course, those of you who have a full split probably already did that. And maybe take the hands over to the left, pivot the leg left a little. All right, let's release and let's move on to a seated position unless you have a final vinyasa here. I'll change the camera one more time. Good. Come to seated, step the soles of your feet together. Bring the heels in. Again, you want to sit on something if your knees are higher than your pelvis right now. Lean forward when available. Make sure your leaning forward doesn't only consist of collapsing your head down. The leaning literally comes from your hip crease. I want to think of putting my belly toward my heels. And then you have to do a lot less movement to get a lot more stretch. Plus, you're not harming your back. Final deep breath here. Good. Come up and extend your legs out wide. Still sitting on something is okay. Good. We'll go to the front first. So sit up tall without strain. Walk your hands forward. Now walk your hands over to the right ankle. Now walk a half moon over to the left ankle. Come back. Good. Bring your legs together, shake them out. Good, so now let's keep the legs straight in front of us, but we'll step the left foot to right inner thigh. We'll do that and then another wild thing, another plane. Arms reach up, inhale, lengthen the waist, exhale, fold over the right leg. Good, on an inhale, sweep the arms up again and float them down. So here's the wild thing, a different one again. Step your left foot out to the left. Take a pretty wide stance here. Right hand behind you, left arm up, and then push into the both feet and lift your hips up. So it's almost like a crooked side plank. And down we go. You can hold it longer if you want. Both legs straight for a second. And I'll take right foot to left inner thigh. Free your sitting bones. Arms float up effortlessly from the shoulders. Exhale, fold forward. Good. Arms come up, inhale, and float them sideways down. Left hand behind you like a kickstand. Right foot, place it where you can bear some weight on it. And up we go. Come down when you're done. Shake out your legs one more time. Good, and we'll lie on our back. So I'll verbally guide you from here. Lie onto your back, please. Just recover for a moment. Good, and now bend your right knee to your chest. Just squeeze it toward the right armpit. And now grab your belt and put it around the right foot. Extend that leg up. And what you can do here to make this a little more intense, if you want, keep the right leg fairly straight and then walk your hands up the belt, lifting your head and shoulders off the ground. Maybe even lift your left leg off the ground a few inches. This is core as well, or you can just hang out on the floor and stretch your right leg with the help of your belt. Good, lower left leg and head again down and bend right leg to right. Bring the leg up and draw it across to the left. So now here's what you can do. So you are lying on your back with your right leg across the left, right? What you can do is rotate yourself all the way into a side lying, left hip lying position, which frees your left leg. So you could bend your left leg behind you and just grab with your available right hand, grab your left ankle. So again, recap. You're lying on your back with your right leg across your body and you're bending your left leg underneath you and grabbing the foot with your right hand. The important trick here is you've got to lie on your left hip. You have to side lie. Otherwise, it's really hard to reach that left foot. If you're here all tangled up, see if you can find some freedom. Just use your mind and your breath. And eventually let go of the left foot, let go of the everything, and come into a quick Shavasana for 2 cleansing breaths. All right, now bend your left knee toward your left shoulder, squeeze it in. Continue breathing. It's really cleansing for our organs here to have that direct pressure applied. This time we're applying it over the pancreas, over the left side of our intestines and descending colon. And now grab the belt, put it around the foot and extend that leg up. Remember what you did. Did you climb up? Did you make it an ab exercise? Just do what you did before for about 3 more breaths. Lower the head and right leg down, left leg goes left. Good, bring that left leg up and let it pivot over the body to the right. You could stay with this one or rotate sideways onto the right hip to your sideline and bend your right heel behind you to then grab the foot with your left hand. Make sure you don't compress into your back. So this movement is really just coming from your legs and your hips. You are in a twist, but the twist from your left arm reaching is more like from your shoulder level, right? Not the low back. Good, slowly unwind. Unwind into Shavasana here. Good, let's finish with happy baby pose. As a matter of fact, those of you who like shoulder stand and want to do that for a moment, go and do that first, otherwise gentle happy baby. If you're in shoulder stand, you might be going into plow. If you're in happy baby pose, you might be done soon. So let's say you're not in shoulder stand and you're done with happy baby pose. You're still lying on your back. You can do the lying down cow face. Cross your right thigh over the left, like when we sit on a chair, right? Bend your knees into your chest and with your hands grab your feet and pull your feet in. So your left hand will be holding your right foot and vice versa. If you're in that cow face, switch legs. And if you're in shoulder stand, you've probably come down or come down now. And together, let's do a fish pose. So once you're already lying on your back again, bring your hands underneath you or use one of your props and add fish position. Thinking of an arc from your tailbone all the way to the crown. So it's not just a straight stiff back and then cranking your neck back. It's obviously something you can skip. Good. Once you're out of fish, lie flat again. Take a deep breath to just let go of any holding patterns in the body. And do your final twist that you like best today. Just a lying down twist. And Sherry, I would not really twist right now. Good. If you haven't switched sides in your twist, do that now. And then we'll release and go into Shavasana. If you at all can give it just maybe 2 minutes for Shavasana. Lie on your back like usual. And take this time to relax, but not only on a mental level, on a physical, emotional, and just our deeper layers start to relax. We are tuned in from our asana practice. So like I said, you're in your Shavasana with your palms maybe turned up. If you feel anxious today or just unsettled, turn your palms down. That is more grounding. Good, and just soften your lungs and your throat and all the muscles involved with the breathing, and still try to take a couple deeper breaths, but not as forceful as when we are practicing. This should almost feel like sighs of relief. Maybe the last one of the deeper breaths, you inhale and hold the breath for a couple seconds, and then slowly blow it out. Now with your eyes closed, begin to soften the skin on your forehead. Relax the outer corners of your eyes and the temples. Let the tiny muscles of your eyes relax even more so the eyes shut more thoroughly. Soften the root of your tongue and your lower jaw. Relax your neck and shoulder muscles, upper back muscles, into your arms and hands. Chest and belly relax now. Take a slow, deep breath here. And exhale, just relax the upper body. Now think of your hips and glutes unwinding. Thigh muscles, front, back, and sides relax. Knee joints and calves soften. Soles of the feet and toes relax. Take a deeper breath in. Exhale, relax your lower body. And for a few moments, just think, body relax, mind relax. Good, now deepen your next breath. Maybe wiggle fingers, toes, rotate ankles and wrists. On an inhale, stretch your arms above your head. Release the arms down, bend your knees in, and roll to one side to then sit up. Take your hands at the heart center.